I don't think, if I could be wrong, but I don't think there's ever been a more cursing in one movie than in Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night Fever isn't just a movie. It's a cultural phenomenon that defined an era. When it strutted onto screens in 1977, its electrifying dance sequences and iconic soundtrack became instantly legendary, forever changing the landscape of music and film. However, behind the glittering facade of disco balls and dazzling choreography, Saturday Night Fever harbored shocking secrets and controversies that have remained hidden for decades. Join us as we uncover what you never realized about Saturday Night Fever that will make you see this classic in a whole new light. To truly understand the impact and controversy surrounding this disco phenomenon, we need to step back to 1975, when a young John Travolta was still relatively unknown. Disco's controversial conception. In the sweltering summer of 1975, New York Magazine journalist Nick Cohn penned an article that would inadvertently set the stage for a cultural phenomenon. Titled "Tribal Rights of the New Saturday Night," Cohn's piece painted a vivid picture of the Brooklyn disco scene, centering on a young Italian-American named Vincent. This article would become the inspiration for Saturday Night Fever, but its journey from page to screen was far from smooth. Cohn's article was a sensation, capturing the zeitgeist of mid-70s New York. However, years later, he dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. In a 1994 interview, Cohn admitted, "The truth is that the story was a complete fabrication. I'd only recently arrived in New York. Far from being steeped in Brooklyn street life, I hardly knew the place." This revelation cast a long shadow over the film's origins. Producer Robert Stigwood, who had purchased the rights to Cohn's article, was reportedly furious. An unnamed studio executive recalled, "Stigwood was ready to dance on Cohn's grave. We'd built an entire movie on a lie." Despite the controversy, the film's development pressed on. The challenge was to transform Cohn's fabricated story into a believable slice of Brooklyn life. Screenwriter Norman Wexler spent weeks immersing himself in the Brooklyn disco scene, observing the dancers, the fashion, and the culture. "It was like stepping into another world," Wexler later said. "The energy was electric, but there was also this underlying darkness." As production geared up, the film faced another hurdle: the waning popularity of disco. By 1977, many were predicting the genre's demise. Director John Badham remembered, "We were making a movie about a dying trend. It felt like we were dancing on the deck of the Titanic." Little did they know Saturday Night Fever would not only revive disco, but launch it into the stratosphere of popular culture. However, this fabricated story was just the beginning of the controversies surrounding Saturday Night Fever, as the casting process would soon prove to be equally tumultuous. Disco drama divas. The casting of Saturday Night Fever was anything but smooth, with controversies swirling around the dance floor like a glitter ball gone rogue. John Travolta, fresh off his success in Welcome Back, Kotter, was a risky choice for the lead role of Tony Manero. At just 23, he was relatively untested in film, and there were whispers that his involvement with Scientology might be a liability. Producer Robert Stigwood took a gamble on Travolta, believing his natural charisma would translate to the big screen. But the real drama unfolded when it came to the dancing. Rumors spread faster than a disco beat that Travolta wasn't doing all his own moves. While he did undergo intense dance training, some eagle-eyed viewers swore they spotted a dance double in certain scenes. Travolta vehemently denied these claims, insisting, "Every step you see on that screen is me, baby." The supporting cast had its share of drama, too. Donna Pesco, who played Annette, reportedly faced body shaming from producers who asked her to gain weight for the role, then lose it again. Talk about mixed signals. But the most explosive controversy came from actor Paul Pape, who played Double J. Years after the film's release, Pepe dropped a bombshell, alleging that director John Badham had engaged in inappropriate behavior with some of the young female extras. These claims were never substantiated, but they cast a shadow over the film's legacy. Travolta's involvement with Scientology also raised eyebrows. Some crew members reported feeling pressured to attend Scientology events or consider joining the church. One unnamed production assistant quipped, "I came to make a movie, not join a religion." Despite the behind-scenes drama, or perhaps because of it, Saturday Night Fever became a cultural phenomenon. As Travolta himself put it, sometimes a little controversy is just what you need to set the dance floor on fire. Yet, as the dust settled on the casting drama, the real challenges were about to unfold behind the scenes during production. Disco drama behind the scenes. Saturday Night Fever may have been all glitz and glamour on screen, but behind the scenes, it was more like a disco inferno of tension. Let's boogie down memory lane and uncover the drama that unfolded when the cameras stopped rolling. First up, we've got director John Badham and our main man, John Travolta, butting heads faster than you can say "staying alive." Travolta, riding high on his TV fame, had some pretty strong ideas about how Tony Manero should strut his stuff. Badham, on the other hand, was trying to keep this disco train on the tracks. The result? Creative clashes that could make even the toughest disco king break a sweat. Travolta later spilled the tea, saying, "John Badham and I had our moments. I was young, full of ideas, and sometimes that didn't sit well with his vision." Talk about an understatement, but the drama didn't stop there. The crew and cast were mixing about as well as polyester and sweat. One unnamed crew member dished, "It was like working in a pressure cooker. Long hours, hot lights, and egos bigger than Tony's hair. Something had to give." And give it did. Safety concerns began popping up like bad dance moves at a wedding. The famous dance scenes? Not exactly OSHA approved. Extras were slipping and sliding on that glitter-covered floor, with some even filing compensation claims. One extra quipped, "I came to dance, not to break my neck." The cherry on top of this drama Sunday, the sweltering New York summer. Filming in the 2001 Odyssey Club was like dancing in a sauna. No air conditioning, packed with extras and more body heat than a disco inferno. It's a wonder the film reel didn't melt. Though the on-set tensions were palpable, they paled in comparison to the public outcry that awaited the film's release. Disco's daring debauchery debate. Saturday Night Fever strutted onto screens in 1977, serving up a heaping helping of controversy hotter than John Travolta's dance moves. The film's raw depiction of sexuality had pearl clutchers nationwide reaching for their smelling salts. The movie didn't just push boundaries, it shimmied right past them in a cloud of glitter. Take the infamous car scene between Tony and Annette. It wasn't just steamy, it was a full-on sauna of discomfort. Critics called it borderline assault, while defenders argued it reflected the gritty reality of 1970s Brooklyn. One unnamed actress explained years later, "The casting couch was alive and well for those risque scenes. It wasn't just about dance moves, if you catch my drift." The film's portrayal of sexual assault stirred up a disco inferno of debate. The scene where Tony's friends assault Annette in the back seat of a car had audiences squirming in their seats. Director John Badham defended it, saying, "We wanted to show the dark underbelly of this world. It wasn't all glitz and glamour." But oh boy, did the religious right have a field day. One pastor famously declared, "This film is turning our youth into disco dancing deviants," because apparently the electric slide was a gateway dance to eternal damnation. Even the MPAA got their polyester panties in a twist, initially slapping the film with an R rating. Producer Robert Stigwood fought back, arguing, "This is the reality of youth culture. Sanitizing it would be dishonest." After some fancy footwork and minor cuts, they managed to secure a PG rating. In the end, Saturday Night Fever's controversies only fueled its success. While the film's content stirred debate, its impact on audience behavior would prove even more controversial. Disco Fever's dangerous moves. When Saturday Night Fever boogied its way into theaters in 1977, it didn't just light up the dance floor, it set fire to a whole cultural phenomenon. But as audiences flocked to mimic Tony Manero's slick moves, some unexpected and downright dangerous consequences emerged faster than you could say, "staying alive." First off, let's talk about the disco inferno that swept through America's youth. Kids weren't just dancing, they were living and breathing the movie. One concerned parent reported, "My son started slicking his hair back and practicing dance moves in front of the mirror for hours. I thought, okay, harmless enough. Then he came home with a white suit." But it wasn't all polyester and platform shoes. Reports started flooding in about injuries sustained by overzealous dancers trying to recreate the film's iconic moves. Emergency rooms saw a spike in disco-related incidents. Dr. Marvin Glitter, yes, that was his real name, from New York's Bellevue Hospital quipped, "We've seen everything from sprained ankles to dislocated hips. I'm calling it Travolta-itis." But the real controversy kicked in when concerned citizens started pointing fingers at the film for glorifying some less than savory behavior. The movie's depiction of casual sex, drug use, and reckless driving had parents and moral guardians clutching their pearls. One Ohio minister famously declared, "This film isn't just teaching our kids to dance, it's teaching them to sin." The debate reached fever pitch when a group of teens in New Jersey were caught drag racing after a screening, each claiming to be the real Tony Manero. Local police officer Frank Mancini sighed, "It's like they forgot the part where Tony realizes the emptiness of that lifestyle." John Travolta himself weighed in years later, saying, "We never intended for people to copy the negative aspects. It was about the journey, the growth. But I guess some folks missed that message while they were busy practicing their hip swivels." While the film's content stirred debate, its impact on audience behavior would prove even more controversial. Disco's dollar dance drama. Who knew a little disco flick could cause such a financial frenzy? Saturday Night Fever might have had everyone grooving, but behind the scenes, it was all about the Benjamins. Let's start with the shoestring budget. Paramount Pictures initially coughed up a measly $3 million for the whole shebang. Producer Robert Stigwood later quipped, "We were making champagne on a beer budget." Talk about your disco inferno, but here's where things get spicy. The soundtrack became a monster hit, outselling the movie itself. The Bee Gees, who provided most of the tunes, suddenly found themselves in a sticky situation. Their manager, Robert Stigwood, yep, same guy, had negotiated a sweet deal that left Paramount execs sweating more than John Travolta in a polyester suit. One unnamed Paramount exec reportedly grumbled, "We thought we were making a movie, not funding a damn record label." Ouch. The studio had to fork over a hefty chunk of the soundtrack profits, turning what should have been a cash cow into a bit of a financial disco disaster. But wait, there's more. The modest budget led to some, shall we say, creative decisions. Remember that iconic white suit? Turns out it was off the rack. Costume designer Patricia von Brandenstein spilled the tea years later. "We bought it at a local Brooklyn store for $130. John loved it so much, he kept it after filming." The tight purse strings even affected the filming locations. Instead of building sets, they shot in real Brooklyn locations. Director John Badham recalled, "We'd clear out a real disco, shoot all night, then clear out before they reopened. It was guerrilla filmmaking at its finest." In the end, Saturday Night Fever grossed over $237 million worldwide. Not too shabby for a film that started with pocket change. Despite the financial roller coaster, the film's marketing strategy was about to add another layer of controversy to this disco drama. Disco's deceptive marketing hustle. When Saturday Night Fever boogied its way into theaters in 1977, it wasn't just John Travolta's hips doing the shimmying. The marketing team was pulling some pretty slick moves too, but not everyone was grooving to their rhythm. Let's start with the poster. You know the one, Travolta striking that iconic pose in his white suit. Looks family-friendly enough, right? Well, that's exactly what had parents up in arms faster than you can say Disco Inferno. One outraged mother from Ohio reportedly exclaimed, "I took my 12-year-old to see a dance movie and got an R-rated sex romp." The film's trailer didn't help matters. It focused heavily on the dance scenes and Travolta's charisma, conveniently leaving out the grittier elements. Film critic Roger Ebert later quipped, "It's like they were selling cotton candy laced with vodka." But here's where things get really juicy. Rumors swirled that some of the controversies were intentionally stirred up by the studio. An anonymous Paramount exec allegedly boasted, "All publicity is good publicity, baby." Talk about dancing with the devil. The debates over the film's appropriate audience ragged on. Churches condemned it, teens snuck into theaters, and parents were left scratching their heads. One theater owner in Kansas recalled, "I had more fake IDs confiscated that month than in the entire previous year." Interestingly, as the years rolled by, critical perspectives on the film evolved. What was once dismissed as a mindless disco flick began to be appreciated for its gritty realism and social commentary. Film historian Robert Thompson noted, "It's like we all collectively sobered up and realized there was substance behind the style." John Travolta himself reflected years later, "We knew we were making something edgy, but I don't think any of us anticipated the cultural earthquake it would cause." So there you have it, folks. A marketing campaign that was almost as controversial as the film itself. Who knew a little white suit could cause so much trouble? However, the marketing controversies were just the tip of the iceberg in Saturday Night Fever's journey from cult classic to cultural phenomenon. Legacy. Despite the controversies that plagued its production, Saturday Night Fever strutted its way into the hearts of millions, leaving an indelible mark on pop culture. This movie didn't just entertain, it inspired a whole generation to hit the dance floor. Suddenly, everyone wanted to be Tony Manero. White suits flew off the racks, and disco lessons became the hottest ticket in town. One fan recalled, "I watched it 17 times in the theater. My parents thought I'd lost my mind, but I was just filled with disco fever." The industry impact, oh boy, it was like dropping a glitter bomb on Hollywood. Saturday Night Fever single-handedly revived the struggling disco genre and launched John Travolta into superstardom. It also paved the way for more gritty, realistic portrayals of working-class life in mainstream cinema. As one critic put it, it was like The Godfather, but with better dance moves. Now, let's talk awards. While it might not have swept the Oscars, Saturday Night Fever did nab a Golden Globe nomination for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. But the real winner? The soundtrack. It snagged the Grammy for Album of the Year in 1979, proving that sometimes the music is the real star of the show. Speaking of winners, let's dive into the dollars and cents. This $3 million budget film moonwalked its way to a whopping $237 million worldwide box office. Talk about return on investment. The soundtrack alone sold 15 million copies, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time. As for more disco fever on the horizon, while the original film stands alone in its iconic status, it did spawn a sequel, Staying Alive, in 1983. But let's be real, nothing can touch the magic of the original. As John Travolta once said, sometimes lightning strikes once and you just gotta keep on dancing. So there you have it, folks. Saturday Night Fever, the little disco movie that could and did and keeps on doing. Now, who's ready to dust off those platform shoes and hit the dance floor? What did you find most surprising or insightful about this deep dive into the hidden layers of Saturday Night Fever? Share your thoughts by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, we think you'll like one of these that's on your screen now. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.